All right, it's Friday morning, Friday before LSU takes off, heads to Gainesville to try and rescue what's left of this season. They actually have all kinds of opportunities in front of them, can still go to the SEC championship game if a variety of things happen, but it starts with LSU having to win every game, starting with Florida, then Vanderbilt, then Oklahoma. We've got Glenn Gilbo, editor of Tiger Rack here. I'm Todd Horn. Jake McMahon's just producing. Hey, you guys, I'm going to take a cue from Kelly and buy you guys all drinks for showing up to work this week and being here today. Actually, Palermo didn't make it, so he gets no drinks. But after that Alabama disaster, having you guys here is just talks legions about how loyal and responsible you guys are, and you really believe in the Tigers as they head to Gainesville, right, Glenn?
Let's just keep the checks coming, big guy. I think I can speak for Jake as well.
So you're saying the only reason you're here is because
Just keep mailing it in, so will I.
Okay. All right, so what?
Because obviously that's what the Tigers are doing right now. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, I tell you what. I mean, I don't want to waste any time talking about last week. That's in the rearview mirror, but we went over.
It's big in the rearview mirror, though.
It's huge.
It's very large.
But focusing on this game against Florida. At the beginning of the season, everybody was talking about how Billy Napier, Florida's head coach, may not even be coaching by the time the LSU Tigers make it to Gainesville to take them on. I think most people thought LSU would be chasing a legitimate SEC championship. Not that they're still, like I said earlier, they're still in it, but it's not so much legitimate as it is almost a back door.
It would be the ultimate back hatch.
It'd be like 2007 for the national championship.
Yeah,
game.
And I was talking to Scott Rabelais yesterday, and it would be very similar to the 2001 SEC title. LSU won that one at 5-3 and really backed into it because they lost by 3 or 4 touchdowns to Florida. The Auburn game was moved to late in the season because of 9/11, and they won that game to get in. And I remember, had they had to play Auburn earlier in the season, they probably would have lost because they were a better team as the season ended. But yeah, it's happened before. In 2007, definitely, they're one of the few 2-loss national championships ever.
They're the only one.
Yeah, no, there was another one. I think it was Minnesota in the early 60s. But things got sketchy back then when they had all, like Reader's Digest had a national champion.
Yeah.
And Mad Magazine had a national champion. But no, I know what you're saying. Yeah, this would definitely be kind of a almost not an asterisk, but definitely a kind of a strange. If LSU gets into the SEC championship game, it means Alabama wouldn't by tiebreaker, and Alabama would be sitting at home with a 42-13 win over LSU. That would be amazing. Yeah.
So just to make it clear for everybody, what we're talking about. And I'm sure most people are aware of this now, but with 3 games remaining, we're in week 12 right now, and there's 3 weeks remaining in the season. If LSU goes 3-0, they've beat Florida, they beat Vanderbilt, and they beat Oklahoma. If Georgia beats Tennessee in Athens this weekend, and if Arkansas either beats Texas or Missouri,
which is no huge accomplishment, beating
right.
Missouri, and Georgia beating Tennessee is not going to be like some kind of huge upset.
Plus South Carolina plays Missouri this week, so if South Carolina beats Missouri, then it
could definitely happen. There's a lot of things have to happen, but none of them are like extremely out there. I think the most difficult rung of that ladder is Georgia beating Tennessee, I would say.
Yeah, because Georgia's offense is just bad.
But so is Tennessee's.
Yeah, but what's the Georgia quarterback's name?
Carson Beck.
Yeah, Carson
Children
Beck.
of the Corn.
Yeah, what's the deal with the eye black?
I don't know, man.
And his eyes, he looks like he's scared to death all the time.
He needs to eat like some thick ribeyes or something, man. He looks malnutritioned.
Yeah, the problem is the Georgia offense against that tough Tennessee defense.
Tennessee's got a great defense, but their offense is bad too.
Yeah, their offense. So that's really what it comes down to. Can LSU, can Georgia keep Tennessee, I would say around 10, 15, 17 points, something like that, then I think Carson Beck could pull it out. But Carson Beck has had as disastrous of a year as Garrett Nussmeier's had a disastrous 2 weeks. Right. 2 game weeks now.
Right, he has. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's just crazy, the low points that teams have had that could be in the SEC championship game. But, it all for LSU, it all hinges on beating Florida. I think of the 3 games, well, I don't know. Vanderbilt's probably the toughest of the 3 they have left. But, if LSU comes out in the post-Alabama depression, which we've seen in the past, particularly under Les Miles, Florida could beat them. If LSU comes out in the right frame of mind and plays clean, just doesn't do stupid things, they should be able to beat Florida. I think they will beat Florida, but it's kind of a dangerous game because if they start screwing up, Florida could get motivated and beat them.
Well, let's break down Florida in a little more detail, the Florida game in a second. But before we do that, I want to ask a very serious question. Last night and yesterday in his press conference and last night in his coach's show, Brian Kelly was almost exuding confidence.
He was.
And, he didn't promise a victory, but he pretty much alluded to the fact that they were going to.
And how many times has he done that and gotten beat?
That's my point exactly. Yeah. I don't trust.
2 times. 2 times he's done that. He made a big statement before the Florida State game in the 23 season, got beat. Made a big statement before the USC game this year, got beat.
Yeah, and I don't trust. He also said how great a running attack they were going to have heading in. He talked about in 2023 before the Florida State game how good their defense was going to be, and of course they were historically horrible last year. I just don't know whether to trust what he's perceiving is going to actually happen.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just looking at his predictions and listen to what he said last night on his radio show. He said by the time they play, Florida plays the Tom Petty Classic. What is it?
Don't Back Down.
Don't Back Down. By the time they play Don't Back Down, Florida will have already backed down. He said that. Yeah. So, that's going to be all over Gainesville if it's not already.
Hi, I'm Mike Munderland, and we're here to smash the capital city's trash.
Smash My Trash is a revolutionary compactor for large dumpsters, sometimes reducing the volume of waste by up to 70%. This means fewer hauls per month and big savings for your business. Fewer hauls and compacted waste will also result in a positive impact on our community and our environment by taking up less space in our local landfill sites. Schedule your company's free demo today. Call 225-497-0101.
All right, so let's go from that. What are the keys to this game for LSU? I'm going to give my brief synopsis, and then you can take it from there.
I don't know if it'll be brief, but go ahead.
It's going to be as brief as I can make it because here's what it comes down to. Apparently, freshman quarterback DJ Lagway, who did not play, dressed but did not play against Texas, is going to play from everything that we understand.
Yeah, he's going to play.
He's not 100%. He is the top freshman quarterback in the country, came out as the number 1 recruit. He can throw the ball very well. Normally, he can run as well, so he is a dual-threat quarterback, but he's not going to be 100%. He's going to be mobile. That fit falls in. The stars are aligning to LSU's defense.
If he's 80%, I'm worried.
Yeah, if he
can run.
But let's just assume he's not going to be a running threat, okay? Let's assume
that's a big assumption,
Yeah,
pal.
I know, but if that's the case, then he's a sitting duck in the pocket, and LSU's defensive strength is pressuring the quarterback and putting pressure on the quarterback with Braden Swinson, Savion Jones, et al. So that bodes well for LSU. The second thing that bodes well for LSU is Florida is 15th in the SEC in rushing defense, so maybe LSU's offense can establish a rushing game with Caden Durham. They hadn't been able to do that against most SEC teams, but perhaps they'll be able to do it against Florida since they're woefully bad. Doing that, that'll open up the game and decrease the pressure for Nussmeier, who could rebound. Florida has a poor pass rush, relatively speaking. So if that remains the same, that's even boding well for Nussmeier. So you're thinking that LSU is going to be able to run the ball, pressure Florida's quarterback Lagway, and also have a decent passing game. Nussmeier breaks out of it. And Kelly alluded to it on his press conference last night. He thinks Nussmeier is going to have a breakout game.
He did. He said that. Another prediction.
Another
which should
prediction.
Worry you again.
Okay, so all those things line up. Nussmeier has a good game. Napier's still the coach. Lagway's playing, but is a sitting duck. And LSU has a running game. Then LSU, I would say, would win this game and still be alive for the SEC championship berth.
Yeah, when we talked to Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel on the radio show Tuesday, he didn't seem to think Lagway was going to run much. But, man, if Billy Napier is any kind of an offensive coach after he's watched film of LSU versus Alabama and A&M, he better put in some designed running plays for Lagway. I'm thinking that would make sense. If not, good luck for LSU. But yeah, the Gators are 94th nationally against the run, allowing 167 a game. That's 15th on a 16 SEC teams. Of course, LSU is 16th in the SEC in rushing offense and number 113 nationally with just 114 yards a game. But if they have some early success running the ball a little bit, they need to stick with it. Like you said, that'll not only will it take the pressure off Nussmeier, it'll also, I believe, decrease the number of turnovers because he's been throwing interceptions. The less passes you throw, the less interceptions you may throw. You would hope. Okay. And then they need to lead Caden Durham in the game
more than 20 of 66 snaps.
They need to leave him in the game when they get to the red zone. If he doesn't block blitz protection, well then get the tight end to do that. You supposedly have the greatest offensive line in the country. Get them to do it and throw the ball to Caden Durham more. But I think the key is to not call so many pass plays for Nussmeier if they can run the ball and just have more of a control game. And I think they should beat Florida.
Trains are everywhere. You should always expect one, even on private property. Only cross tracks at designated crossings that fit your equipment. If you don't fit, don't commit. Look, listen, live.
Well, for LSU, C.J. Daniels, the team's second leading receiver, is supposedly more healthy, not 100%, but more healthy than he has been. He'll be back. Here's another key, and we can't overlook this. Florida can run the football, whether it's Lagway at 100% or those running backs. They have Jaden Bow. They have Montrell Johnson Jr., who's listed as probable for this game, did not play against Texas last week. And they also have Jacoby Johnson. Maybe they put them in a single wing type of situation and just, one of those running backs, or maybe all three of them at different times, and just try to take advantage of LSU's porous rushing defense.
Yeah, Brian Kelly said, the ideal situation for his defense is a third down passing situation, and the worst case is two tight ends and quarterback running the ball. But if LSU gets into that kind of game where they're running the ball and not passing as much, then their defense will be better rested. If everything goes like that, then they should be able to play better against the run. Another key is going to be Garrett Dellinger is out at left guard for LSU once again, and it's going to be redshirt freshman Paul Mabinga, who is going to start because Tyree Adams is only going to play in an emergency situation, Kelly said last night as he's getting back to health.
Would Adams,
I'm thinking...
Would Adams play guard?
He can play guard and tackle. He's their sixth offensive lineman. But Kelly said if it's an emergency situation, I said, dude, you've been in an emergency situation since the second half of the Texas A&M game.
Okay, so let's play Nostradamus here, in a way. Who's Nostradamus?
Who's he play for?
He played for Notre Dame.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, back in like the 1400s or something, before they had football.
Okay.
But I'm not talking about making predictions on the score right now. We'll do that towards the end here. But what about the fact that if LSU were to lose this game, the heat on Kelly from the fan base this week has been unbelievable. They want him, I can't say a majority of the fan base, but a lot of the fan base has been very voracious in get rid of him. We're not renewing him. He's not fitting in. He's not making progress. He was surprised that anybody went to he said, Kelly, that he was surprised anybody went to the coach's show last night and offered to buy them all drinks, going back to our opening, because they were able to, withstand and show for the radio show last night. What is it going to be like if LSU loses to Florida?
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad this past week compared to some of the Les Miles years, but it was definitely bad. But not, there's no movement to get him fired at all.
Well, if
they lose, to answer your question, if they lose to Florida, yeah, it could get it could get really bad. But I still don't think it's going to move to the administration. I really don't. It always seems a little worse than it is. Plus, fans can be louder now because of social media and everything. So, a few people, a minority, can often sound like it's a majority, even if it isn't. But if they lose to Florida, it'd be terrible. But he's still not getting fired.
So several hundred people on social media voicing no trust for Kelly moving forward is not alarming.
No, it's not significant at all, in my opinion.
All right. What about Napier?
Well, there's a guy who he's been dealing with the 1 week Kelly dealt with for about 2 years now, and he's still there. And they both went into similar programs, both sliding programs as they started. And Napier's done a much worse job than Kelly. Florida does have a bad NIL situation that they're trying to get fixed. Looks like they might have it fixed. But he got a vote of confidence from his athletic director, and then he got killed by Texas. Sometimes a vote of confidence is a foreshadowing of getting fired. I think if he gets blown out a couple more times, I don't think he's definitely made it to next season yet.
So you don't believe Strickland saying he's going to be here?
No, I don't. I think that sounded good at the time, and if they beat Florida State and play well in the other games, I think he might be back. Who knows? That's a rival game, man. Florida State could finally get it together and win that game. But if he upsets LSU, I would think he's in very good shape of coming back.
So Florida is not bowl eligible right now. In order to get bowl eligible, they have to win 2 more games. They have LSU, then Ole Miss, then Florida State.
Well, I think bowl eligibility doesn't matter as much as it used to. In fact, it'd probably be better if he, if he does stay and doesn't get bowl eligible. That'll probably be better because he can focus more time on recruiting and hiring staff. But that's neither here nor there if he gets to go to some minor bowl.
Hey, changing the subject real quick. I wanted to congratulate you on your Louisiana Sports Writers Association award and recognition this week.
Thank you.
What is that? Distinguished service. Does that mean you're old? It's for.
It is. It is one of those awards that go to guys as they're getting older.
Well, when did
Sure.
When did you find out that you had won the award? We were just notified yesterday. And what was the award specifically?
It's the Distinguished Service Award for
Sports writers.
And you go into the Hall of Fame just like the athletes. You get a bust and everything. You're in the Hall of Fame as a journalist. The journalist wing of the Hall of Fame, kind of like the journalist wing of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Who's going to do your bust for you?
They got like a professional guy that does it, and he better be really talented because he doesn't have a lot to work with. But the Louisiana Sports Writers Association is associated with the Hall of Fame, and Louisiana Sports Writers Association. It's kind of a mom and pop organization. It always has been, but the Hall of Fame is huge. I mean, some of the athletes that are in that Hall of Fame, and if you've ever been into that building in Natchitoches, and unfortunately, Natchitoches does great with it, and because it's a small town, they focus on it. I think more people would see that place if it was in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, but might get lost in the shuffle, particularly in New Orleans. But usually halls of fame are in or museums are in bigger cities. But if you look at it, the Baseball Hall of Fame is in a little bitty town in Cooperstown. The Football Hall of Fame is a little bitty town in Canton. So is the Basketball Hall of Fame, like in Springfield, Massachusetts, I think. But I'm not saying this because I'm going in, but it's a wonderful building, and some of the athletes that are from Louisiana that may not have played at Louisiana schools and made themselves famous elsewhere, like Willis Reed is from Louisiana. He's in the Hall of Fame, but it's an awesome place to go. So I was really honored. I found out last week Doug Ireland and Scooter Hobbs, who's a member of the journalist wing, they called me and shocked me really. I didn't see it coming, and then the release came out yesterday. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, it's definitely an honor to be proud of, and we appreciate you, and congratulations. And you still have to come to work at the regular time.
There is no regular time.
All right, so we're going to take a commercial break really quick, and when we come back, we're going to go ahead and make our predictions on this weekend's game, and we're going to try not to parody what Kelly said last night in our predictions, because we don't want to be overly influenced by him.
I know you won't be.
Right. Talk to you later. We'll be back right after this.
It's time to start betting on yourself. Louisiana 988 can help if you're dealing with tough emotions caused by gambling habits. You can share as much or as little as you want, and it's completely confidential. It's free, available 24/7, and most people who reach out report feeling better right in the moment. Call or text 988 anytime.
Okay, we're back. All right, we're going to make some predictions, and then we're going to get out of here. So it's the number 22 LSU Tigers at 6-3, trying to snap a 2-game losing streak when they face the Florida Gators of Billy Napier, who are 4-5, and that'll be on Saturday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Central on ESPN, ABC. LSU was squarely in the college football playoff conversation prior to last week's debacle, and I guess you could say prior to the debacle in the second half against Texas A&M 2 weeks before that. We're looking at, as we mentioned, LSU still being mathematically alive in the chase for a spot in the SEC championship game, and as you said, it's more realistic of an opportunity than just statistically, mathematically. They really have a legitimate shot, but they have to win all 3 games. So that they have remaining, do we think that they're going to be able to do what they need to do to beat Florida? The over-under is 55.5 right now. LSU is a 4.5-point favorite. The LSU Tigers have a 5-game winning streak against Florida. That means they've, obviously won the last 5 years because they play every year. I'm going to say that LSU does win for the aforementioned reasons, that they're going to be able to run the ball. and that they're going to be able to pressure Lagway, who's going to be relatively immobile, I believe. So I'm going to say that LSU wins 34-19.
Yeah, I have LSU winning 31-21. LSU has played well this season in brief instances. They put together two really good back-to-back games against Ole Miss and Arkansas before everything fell apart. Before those two games, they were not that impressive. They barely beat South Carolina, got some fortunate calls, were down 17-0, probably should have lost that game. But I think they still got some good games left in them. And I think they're going to run the ball well against Florida, and that's going to be the best medicine for them because that helps everything else. That's how the Saints beat Atlanta last week. It opens up the play action, and I think you'll see some of that and some simpler plays, hopefully shorter passes for Nussmeier. And Florida's just not that good, and if LSU can run the ball well, establish control early, they're going to have a comfortable win. So I'm going with LSU 31, Florida 21.
All right, one more quick question. It just occurred to me. If Garrett Nussmeier does not break out of his funk and throws one or two interceptions from making bad decisions or bad reads during the course of this game, will we see Ricky Collins?
I think if Nussmeier throws 3 interceptions or 2 early, I think you might see somebody new. I don't think that's going to happen, but if he gets out there, that's true for almost anybody. If Nussmeier throws 2 interceptions and it's only the second quarter, I think you might see a change.
You think it'll be Ricky Collins?
Oh, yeah. I think it would definitely be Ricky Collins over the Vanderbilt transfer, sure.
Okay, I guess that's it for Tiger Rag's Audibles podcast, and
hold on. You answer the question. What do you think? Will Nuss come out?
I think that Kelly's said that Nussmeier's job is safe. He's not changing the starting quarterback. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. But you don't believe
anything he says.
But I think if he throws one bad interception and LSU's in a struggle, and certainly if he throws 2 and LSU's struggling and they're not way ahead, in other words, if it's still a game when those interceptions occur, if they occur, I do think you'll see Collins.
Yeah, and he can run. And they should be practicing on that now. Run pass option with Ricky, ball control. That would be a very good alternative to win the game.
All right, so that's it for Tiger Rag's Audibles podcast. And hopefully next week, Jeff Palermo will have the gall to rejoin us if LSU wins.
Get ready to make some noise this October with the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. Join us for the 11th Annual Baton Rouge Maker Fair on October 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., where creativity and music come together. From live performances to hands-on workshops, there's fun with a beat for everyone. Visit batonrouge.makerfair.com for details. Brought to you by your East Baton Rouge Parish Library, where creativity never stops.